Okay. Hello and welcome to the first meeting of the Joint Conference Subcommittee on Transportation. I am Assemblyman Bill Magnarelli, Chair of the Assembly Standing Committee on Transportation. I'm pleased that we are here today with the Senate to examine the proposals for the 2021 and 2022 state budget related to the Departments of Transportation and Motor Vehicles and the Thruway Authority and the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. I'm confident that this subcommittee will work well together in the process of enacting a timely, responsible, and on-time budget. Now I would like to introduce the Assembly members of the subcommittee. Member Amy Paulin, Chair of the Assembly Standing Committee on Corporations. Member Michael Cusick, Chair of the Assembly Standing Committee on Energy. Member Inez Dickens, Assembly District 70. Member Michael Norris, Assembly District 144. The alternate members of the subcommittee from the Assembly are Member William Conrad, Assembly District 140. Member Gina Saliti, Assembly District 16, and Member Joe DeStefano, Assembly District 3. The Assembly has designated Julie Barney as our recording secretary. So I thank everyone who is able to join us virtually today. Senator Kennedy, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Chairman Magnarelli. My name is Tim Kennedy, Senator for the 63rd District and Chairman of the Transportation Committee in the Senate. I want to thank everyone for joining us here today for the first Transportation Conference Committee. We in the Senate are very pleased with the One House budget on transportation that we put forward. We're looking forward to working with all of you through this process. I want to recognize Senator Leroy Comrie, Senator John Liu, Senator James Skoufis, Senator John Brooks, who is here as an alternate member, Senator Joe Griffo, who is also the ranking member of Transportation, and Senator Matera, who is here as an alternate as well. The Senate will designate the recording secretary of the Transportation Conference Committee, Rick Rogers. Chairman Magnarelli.
Senator, you were going to go through the guidelines for the committee.
So the guidelines for the conference committee process, there are 7 of them. The co-chair shall determine all matters of parliamentary procedure unless otherwise specified by these rules. Any dispute with regard to procedure that cannot be resolved by the co-chairs shall be referred back to the General Conference Committee and shall be resolved by the co-chairs of the General Conference Committee. Number 2, co-chairs shall designate a staff person to serve as secretary for the purpose of taking minutes. Number 3, an alternate may participate in a subcommittee meeting but shall not vote upon any deliberations of such subcommittee unless he or she has been designated to fill an excused vacancy in such subcommittee. Such designation shall be made by the co-chair of the General Conference Committee representing the House in which the excused vacancy exists. Such vacancy is in a minority seat on the subcommittee, then the designation shall be made upon the recommendation of the respective houses' minority representatives of the General Conference Committee. Such designation shall be made as soon as practicable by the appropriate co-chair by providing notice to the other co-chair of the General Conference Committee. An excused absence in the General Conference Committee may be filled by temporary designation of a member by the co-chair of the General Conference Committee representing the House in which the excused vacancy exists. Number 4, no subcommittee members or alternate members shall be permitted to participate via proxy. Number 5, subcommittees shall restrict their deliberations to their respective subject areas as determined by the General Conference Committee. Any issues which are determined to be non-germane by the co-chairs shall be referred back to the General Conference Committee. Number 6, each member shall be permitted a reasonable period of time as determined by the co-chairs to discuss any matter germane to the subject area of the subcommittee. And finally, number 7, no report shall be filed except upon affirmative vote of a majority of the members of each house's delegation on the subcommittee.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Just as a matter of a few remarks before we start this process, the Assembly proposal provides a $504 million increase to the Department of Transportation capital plan, and ensures that our transit systems receive critical operating assistance. Some of the highlights include $84 million for non-MTA transit systems, $65 million for extreme winter recovery, $35 million for passenger rail projects, and $20 million for freight rail. The Assembly proposal includes $100 million in funding for a new program, State Route New York, to reimburse cities, towns, and villages for capital projects on state touring routes. The Senate is also proposing a program focused on city streets, and I look forward to working with my Senate counterpart on this important issue. In total, including funding for Bridge New York, Pave New York, and Extreme Winter Recovery, the Assembly proposal provides $365 million for local roads and bridges. And with that, I would just open it up to any of my colleagues in the Assembly who would like to make a statement at this time. Otherwise, I will turn it back over to Senator Kennedy for his final remarks.
Assemblymember Norris.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much to both of the chairmen. I appreciate the opportunity to be heard today. I think it's very important as we look at the transportation systems within New York State, but particularly upstate New York. As you know, I represent parts of Erie, Niagara, and Orleans counties. And it's very, very important to our local municipalities that we ensure proper and additional CHIPS funding. So I would ask the chair of the Assembly Transportation Committee and the majority members, when you go back to conference, to please consider increasing that. For 8 years now, we've been stagnant in terms of that. And I know the Senate, Senator Kennedy did increase that by 150 million. So I hope as we move forward on CHIPS, it's very important for particularly our upstate communities that that's included. I also urge additional funding for the extreme winter recovery funds as well. You know, we're suffering through the COVID pandemic and the results of that. By adding these funds in, it will help create good paying jobs, maintain good paying jobs, and making an investment into our roads, particularly as we all know, with the situation going on right now after the winter time that we had. So again, I just want to encourage the executive and both houses to ensure there's additional funding for CHIPS, there's additional funding for extreme winter recovery, and that we protect our Pave New York and our Bridge New York program as well. And just in conclusion to that, this is about investment, it's about jobs, it's about opportunity, and I just want to make sure that we have parity also between upstate and downstate, because infrastructure is the basis of everything really that we do, how we get to work, how we get to schools, and how we make sure we invest in our community. So again, thank you very much to our chairs, and thank you for your advocacy on these programs. I appreciate the opportunity to be heard today.
Thank you. Senator Kennedy?
Thank you very much. I think everyone is excited about getting to work here. We're, again, very proud of what we put forward from a Senate One House perspective. We restored all of the cuts that were proposed in the executive budget. We proposed a $150 million increase in CHIPS funding. We doubled Pave and Bridge New York funding. We restored and increased STOA funding, State Transportation Operating Assistance, for both the MTA and non-MTA by 10%. We put in arterial reimbursement funding. We put in an urban roads initiative that'll focus in on our corridors that have been neglected for many, many years. And we are working to restore the money that was withheld from CHIPS last year, which was about 120 million. And of course, we're looking for equity and parity across the state. So we got a lot of work to do, and we're looking forward to doing it. My colleagues, any of my colleagues like to say a few words? Senator John Liu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for your unwavering and steadfast advocacy for transportation funding all throughout the state of New York, particularly with regard to infrastructure development and improvement. I want to thank our corporations and authorities chairperson, Leroy Comrie, as well, I know he's going to be very succinct today, but I did want to say that our Senate One House bill is extremely important to all the people of New York State as we are recovering from this COVID emergency. But it is in particular important to the people of New York City, where we rely on the daily services of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. The executive sought to take funds away from the MTA. We are putting it back and then some. This is vitally important to our New York City residents, as well as commuters from throughout the region. So I just wanted to say we have a great One House. Look forward to a reconciliation with the Assembly, which I think is very supportive as well. And let's hold the line against the executive. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Senator Liu. Any of my other colleagues?
Senator Skoufis and Senator Griffo have their hands up. Senator
Senator
Skoufis.
Skoufis.
Hey, thanks very much. And thank you, Chair Kennedy, and of course, Chair Comrie and everybody who's at this conference committee. And I too want to thank you for your leadership. One House is a document that we can be proud of, particularly on the transportation side. All of these important programs are seeing increased funding, as they should, as we come out of a pandemic, to rebuild the state, put people back to work. And the point of my comment is really just to emphasize the need for a robust, multi-year DOT capital program. I know you certainly feel that way, Senator Kennedy, Chair Kennedy, as do many of my colleagues on this conference committee. All of our regions depend on an equitable and very strong DOT capital plan coming out of a pandemic. Certainly in my area, the expansion of Route 17 remains a paramount DOT project that needs to get funded in this capital program. And I look forward to working with you and everybody to do just that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Griffo, the ranking member of Transportation.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, and Co-Chair Mick Magnarelli. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you too.
Magnarelli.
Magnarelli. Pleasure to be with both of you and the assembled the members on both sides. We're pleased to see that the restoration was made to the Extreme Winter Recovery Fund, because that is very crucial, particularly for the weather conditions that are faced throughout the state. The increase to CHIPS is important. Our conference has long been an advocate and supporter of programs like the Consolidated Highway Program. So important and vital to our local roads and bridges, and as a transportation network relates to our economic development efforts. So we're hopeful that these proposals will ultimately make it into the enacted budget. And we also want to express the importance of making sure that any additional funding for transportation continues to be distributed in a way that is achieves balance for municipalities outside of the city of New York to ensure their fair share of funding, especially since we haven't seen some of that transportation funding parity between the MTA and the DOT capital plans. So hopefully we'll find that balance for both systems, and look forward to the work ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other senators wishing to be heard? That'll be it.
Yeah,
Chair Magnarelli.
I think so, Senator. This will conclude the first meeting of the Transportation Conference Subcommittee. We will meet again upon the call of the General Conference Committee. I thank you all, and happy St. Patrick's Day again.